Before watching the rest of this video, please press the pause button, find a Bible, read Luke chapter 7 verses 1 to 10, and then press play.
Hello friends, I'm glad you want to hear more. My name's Daniel and I'm a fisherman from a small village called Capernaum on the banks of the Sea of Galilee. I've got lots I want to tell you today. Jesus went away again, but we knew he wasn't far away because people kept coming into the village to buy things, and then they go back out again to find Jesus and tell us what he was doing. And so I heard that he was teaching in the hills nearby. When he returned, he had those followers with him this time, a sort of group of hand-picked men who were close to him. And I recognised a couple of them because they were fishermen, just like me. There were quite a few Romans garrisoned close to our village. Some had even settled and built their houses around the local area. They would often come into the village for food and other things like that, or send their servants to do it for them. So we were used to seeing them. Jesus was sitting in the village with a crowd of people around him. He always had a crowd of people around him as he was talking. And I was there too, listening, when this group of people I recognised as our village elders sort of pushed their way through the crowd right to the front. People weren't too happy with it. Jesus looked up at them, and I'm sure he knew what they were going to say, but he waited for them to speak anyway. One of the elders said, "Jesus, we are here at the request of Thaddeus the centurion who lives in this village. His servant Benjamin, whom he values above all others, is very sick and may soon die. Thaddeus has sent us to ask you to heal this man as you have healed so many others." I could tell that some people in the crowd weren't happy. I mean, this was a Roman asking for help. It wasn't one of us. But I suppose they weren't from Capernaum, so they wouldn't know that Thaddeus wasn't like the other Romans. He'd almost become one of us. He'd lived here for so long, he treated everybody really nicely. He'd even paid for the building of one of the churches in the village. Then a second elder spoke, and he said, "Jesus, this man deserves to have you do this because he loves our nation and he has built our synagogue." There was a hush as we waited to see what Jesus would do. And I was not surprised when he got up and asked them to show the way, and he followed. And of course the crowd followed, and so did I. I wasn't going to miss this. 10 minutes later, we almost got to the centurion's house when some of those I recognised as members of his household came running down the road towards us. I pushed my way through to the front. I wanted to hear what they were going to say. The first man who approached Jesus said, "Lord." He actually called Jesus Lord. A Roman called one of us Lord. That was amazing to start with. He was clearly speaking words that Thaddeus had given him to say. And then he continued, "Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve to have you come under my roof." I was so impressed with the humility that Thaddeus showed in those words. And then his servant continued, "That is why I did not consider myself worthy to come to you, but say the word and my servant will be healed." I think some of the crowd gasped at those words. I mean, to hear a Roman centurion supposedly lower himself like that and tell one of us that he is not worthy. It just never happens, but it happened then. We were all straining to hear the Roman speak now, as what he was saying was so incredible. And he continued with Thaddeus' words. He said, "But say the word and my servant will be healed." Remarkable. Right then, I knew Jesus had made a huge impression on everyone. even the Romans, because, well, Thaddeus just knew that Jesus could heal people. He believed totally. And then his friend continued. For I myself, he said, am a man under authority. I have soldiers under me. I tell this one, go, and he goes. I say to that one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. And this is the incredible thing. Even Jesus was amazed at the man's words. Yes, Jesus. I told you yesterday that he knew people's words even before they spoke. So I know he can do that. But standing there, I could see on his face just how amazed he was. He was clearly surprised at the man's words. He turned to us with this big smile on his face. And he said loudly, I tell you, I have not found one with such great faith, even in Israel. In other words, he was telling us that a Roman had shown greater faith in God than all of us who had grown up worshipping God all our lives. I was a little shamed in that moment, because he was right. Jesus turned to the friends and spoke. I didn't hear what he said exactly, but they all turned round and ran off back to the house, and I knew that the servant would be okay. Sure enough, I heard the day after that he'd been completely cured that same day, and I saw him in the village later surrounded by people. I guess he was telling them his story. I learned a great lesson that day. The value of faith. It's not enough for me just to believe in Jesus and to trust him because I've seen him do incredible things with my own eyes. Anyone can do that. Thaddeus believed that his servant would be healed without seeing Jesus, and that Jesus could do it with just a word. And it happened. He trusted completely, and I resolved to make sure that from then on I would believe every word Jesus spoke, and I didn't need evidence to believe it. If he said it, I knew it was true. I also witnessed his love in action in that day. He didn't care that this was a Roman asking for help. He clearly cares about everyone equally, wherever they come from and whoever they are. We all matter to Jesus. Jesus keeps on doing so much more than I expect him to do. Just when I think I know all about him, he does more and he surprises me, and I have so much more to tell you about that tomorrow. So for now, goodbye, and thank you for joining me.